the classic taste of a freshly peeled banana, paired with rich cream for an indulgent escape. A shake so delicious, you just can't put it down. Packing 21 grams of protein in every scoop. Say hello to banana cream from Quest Nutrition. For 7 delicious reasons to love your protein powder, visit questnutrition.com.
Dave Palumbo with RxMuscle.com. I'm standing here with Chris the Technician Aceto and John Hansen, and we're going to do the wrap-up of the men's open bodybuilding here at the NPC Nationals 2016. We're here in Miami, Florida with the beautiful river behind us. We're here at the Hyatt Regency Hotel, and the pre-judging is finally over. Well, actually, it's not over. We kind of cut out with the bikini was still on. Let's start, Chris, with the super heavyweight class. Dorian Haywood, who won the NPC Junior Nationals a bunch of years ago, displayed enormous potential, terrific conditioning. Looks like he's poised to win the super heavyweight class here. Having said that, I want to also qualify it as this might be one of the worst super heavyweight classes we've seen in recent years. Conditioning was terrible on most of the competitors. It was a battle between Joe Mackey and Dorian Haywood. Give me your assessment of what you saw tonight.
I think Dorian Haywood is a great bodybuilder. I think he'll probably end up
not to be confused with Dorian Yates.
Yeah, Dorian Yates.
Better conditioning.
But yeah. I thought he would look better. He was in better condition when he lost to the USA. He was in really good condition when he was second to Rashid
Aldrich, yeah.
And he did the North America, so he's had a long year. He came in here, and I think by doing all those shows, he progressively, quote, got worse. Having said that, he still had good condition, not his best condition, because
right.
I think if he had his best condition, we'd be talking about him as the clear-cut winner. So I think he left the door open in terms of his personal best.
He looked a little disheveled to me. I don't know. I was making a joke. He looked like William Shakespeare because he had the little beard and everything like that. And his hair was a little messed up. Do you think maybe he didn't bring his best? He looked like he might have been rushing. That's the look I had on him. What was your assessment? Was he the clear-cut winner in that super heavyweight class?
Not really. I mean, I think judging by where they placed him, he's going to win. But I've seen him much better. I saw him better at the Junior Nationals a couple years ago. I mean, he was in better shape then. And I thought when he was competing then, I thought he was going to get a pro card sooner. So yeah, he didn't look at his best, but he might win just by default.
Well, the class was weak.
Yeah.
Let's face it. It was the two of those guys and then everyone else.
Yeah.
And I think the judges had a hard time finding a top 5 in that super heavyweight class. So, 2 pro cards to each class. So those 2 guys should get the pro cards. Which one emerges victorious, I don't know, but it looks like Dorian Haywood might get the nod. Let's talk about the heavyweight class where Sean Vasquez looks poised to win this class, Chris. I liked the density he had in his muscle. I liked the conditioning. I like his presentation. He looked very, very comfortable up there. Some of these other guys were very nervous and jerky up there. He looked like, hey, I got this class.
Well, this was the class that was compared over and over and over amongst the top 5. And I think what we saw here is his confidence in himself came out. I mean, he had the best body, I think, up there. He had he has the greatest sweep to the thighs that stuck out. He has more lat thickness. But I think it was his comfort level and his, just belief in himself as they compared and compared and compared. Other people faded, and he stayed strong.
And let's face it, no one dominated this heavyweight class.
Right.
This was not the best heavyweight class we've seen in recent years, maybe one of the worst ones. Vasquez came in real tight. Jeff Cooper, though, did give him a run for his money, I felt, in that lineup, and I felt that it was close. I think the 2 of them will take the pro cards. But in your mind, who did you like better?
I like Vasquez, too. I agree with Chris. It looked like he came to win. It looked like he was more confident up there. I liked his back. He had a good wide back, good structure. So, yeah, I think he came out of the most condition out of all of them.
Let's talk about the light heavyweight class now, where Derek Olson really came into this show as a virtual. I didn't know who he was. I don't think any of us knew who he was. And he impressed the hell out of me. As you pointed out earlier, you really like that square look he had. He had that Bob Grushkin look that Bob would really go crazy for.
I thought he was a clear-cut winner. He was just like square from the delts to the pecs. When he hit a front lat spread things sunk in where they're supposed to sink in
That's
the
the
waist.
90s look.
Yeah, and he had a great flare to his thighs. His back was balanced. He was like full everywhere, and he was in really good condition. I just thought he was like heads and shoulders above everyone else in the class.
Of the big guys, the big classes, we always say, the light heavies, heavies, and supers, I thought the light heavies were hands above the other two.
Definitely.
And this was not an easy class to win.
Right, yeah. The supers and the heavies were a disappointment, but the lighter classes, especially the light heavies and the middles, I thought were much, much better.
Did Derek have a clear-cut win over Kane Bishop, who it looks like he's going to take second in that second pro card?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Kane looked good also, but I think Derek looks better, bigger, bigger and harder.
Kane Bishop had a lot of wow, Chris, up there. At first when he comes out, you say, hey, that's the winner, until you start really dissecting these guys. That's why when you look at pictures, sometimes you don't get the full flair for it. I was sitting in the front row at first because I was plugged in my computer until I got kicked out of the judges' row. And believe me, from that front row, it's a big difference from 2 rows back where we were sitting in the press seats.
Yes, when we moved, I was with you. When we moved from the front to like 20 feet back, I thought being 20 feet back was a lot easier to see, who was in tremendous shape and who was only in like really good shape.
Right.
Kane Bishop, I thought, from the front and side, to some degree, you could argue sort of pushed for the win. It was from behind, which is good from behind. But the winner of the class, I thought, dominated that class from behind, and that was the difference that just made it impossible for him to lose.
Are we having lulls in some of these competitions where we're not getting the top creme de la creme talent because we're turning too many people pro, you think maybe? We got North American, we got these Masters Nationals now where a lot of the guys are over 30, they got 35 and over.
Yeah.
We got 2 pro cards at the Nationals here. Is it too many pro cards, and that's maybe why we get like drops in talent, and then we have to wait another year or 2 before they come back up again?
That's what I would say, yeah. I mean, back in the 90s, when they weren't given as many pro cards, guys like Flex Wheeler, Kevin Levrone, they had it. Well, Kevin got it pretty quick. But like
then Flex had to wait because Levrone got it. Yeah.
Right. Flex and
DeMayo and those guys.
A lot of those guys. And they became great pros when they finally did.
Cormier had to wait. They all had to wait.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the middleweight class, which might have been the most competitive class in the entire show. Yeah. Julius Rumingen impressed the hell out of me. I mean, to win the middleweight class, Chris, you had to be superb because there probably was 10 guys that on any given year could have won this class in that show.
Yeah, for me, he had the densest. I've trained hard, and I've been training for a very long period of time. Fresh, hardcore look to his muscle out of everyone in the show from beginning to end. When he came out, I just thought like, wow, that looks like old-time density, barbells and dumbbells. Everything fell in place where it was supposed to fall in place, and he had no weaknesses.
And his conditioning, John, was superb. We can't say that about those heavier classes because it was sketchy. This was a well-conditioned guy.
Yeah, I know this guy because when I first moved to Florida, one of the first shows I saw, he was in the contest, and I could tell this guy had a great physique, but he was off condition. Right. So this was the best condition I've ever seen him in. So he's definitely got the right coach, and he's doing the right thing, and he looks better than ever.
He must be from New England because Jose knows him very well, he said.
No, I think Jose said he competed with him years ago.
On a national level show, yeah.
So there's the answer to, looks like he's been training a long period of time.
Yeah.
I mean, he might be like Jose 42.
Yeah. I don't know about that, but taking that second pro card, it looks like it's going to be Miguel Senor, who was also very impressive.
Yeah.
Had Julius not been there, Miguel wins. I mean, these 2 guys are like hands above. I mean, these guys are just superb, conditioned, balanced. They have it all. Whereas in the heavies and supers, we're kind of saying, all right, this guy doesn't have a deficit here, and this guy doesn't have a deficit here. We're looking at all positives on these 3 guys.
Yeah,
these 2 guys.
I thought his condition was tremendous, and what you say, the condition, it still goes back to weight classes. Meaning, if they put a cap on the super heavies, like you can't be higher than this, and just said everyone has to come down 10 pounds, then everyone would be peeled.
Yeah.
And that's what happens is, we're judging, we're supposedly talking about middleweights, but everyone who's really good, they're really like 4 weeks out, struggling to make it to that weight. Right. When they make it to that weight, they automatically showed up in shape.
Well, it was a great show here at the prejudging. We're not going to know who's going to win until tomorrow night, obviously. We had a great classic physique prejudging with 1 million competitors, some superb talent, so much we can't even talk about it. We have women's physique, and
there's my boat.
We're waving to Chris's boat is pulling up to take us to South Beach and take us to dinner late. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that. I'll plug you later on that. Actually, George Farah owns that boat. He's leased it to us for the night. Chris wants to see if he can remember how to drive the boat. Like I was saying, though, This competition is so deep and so long, we can't cover everything. We'll talk about all the winners tomorrow night. Stay tuned. Dave Palumbo with Chris Aceto and John Hansen from Miami, Florida at the NPC Nationals.